Hey, Brian, thanks for doing this. Obviously, it's been well documented how you guys dealt with key injuries all throughout the regular season. You were obviously included in that. Whether you might have to play without a guy like Sid or Patrick Hornquist or anyone else, just how much could that experience help throughout the playoffs if you do have to play without a key guy or two?
Yeah, it's something that we've done all this year. It seems like we've never really had a full lineup uh, throughout this whole year, and always at some point someone was injured, and a lot of the times you don't even have time to think about it, just with the busy schedule. And I think it's going to be the same this time, whether a guy gets injured or someone gets sick. I mean, I think it's important for us to just stay focused and maintain our direction. And obviously, we have guys that can play in different roles and guys that have on other teams. So I feel like we have a really, really deep team, and even our extra forwards are very good players. So regardless of who's injured, who's not, we have a good team going forward.
Next question is from Matt Guentzel. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Brian, how do you feel physically? I mean, you were back from the injury for a while, but I would guess that just getting some time off was probably not the worst thing in the world for you from an injury standpoint to get back to close to 100%.
Yeah, even when I came back from my ankle injury in those 5 games, I was able to get back. I felt really good, and I felt almost 100% coming back. It was just kind of getting back in the game mode and getting the game feel. So still the same here. Obviously, we've had a lot of time off, and um, the good part about it is everyone has had this time off. I thought the hardest part for me coming back from that injury was getting up to speed, especially when everyone was right in the middle of the season. I've been playing a lot of games consecutively, so at this point I feel pretty good, and I feel like I'm at a great spot. And obviously the time off helped to get a little bit stronger, but even then I still felt good and feel good now.
Next question is from Dayon. Go ahead, Dayon.
Sumo, through your whole life, even before the NHL, you've done so much winning, championships. It's stuff we've talked about in the past. What motivates you and really this core group to just keep winning? You know what I mean? I mean, looking at championships, some guys would be satisfied with a couple.
Yeah, I mean I think that's why we play, and the people who win, they have that hunger and that desire to win more. And I mean, you go through a full 82 game schedule and the grind of the season, the injuries, the rehab, and everything just to try to win at the end of the season. I mean, that's my ultimate goal, and that's what drives me. I mean, other people might have different feelings, obviously, but for me, that's my ultimate goal is to win. And regardless if it's a practice and a drill in practice, or if it's anything, I want to win at it and be the best I can. And I put first and foremost, my best effort at it. And that's my ultimate goal. And I think that's what I judge myself on most is winning. And that's something that means most to me.
Next question is from Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hey, Dumoulin, this is kind of the reverse of the first question you were asked, but I mean, just how much of a boost has it been to have Jake back? And I mean, in normal circumstances, he might not have been able to make a return, but to have him, healthy and ready to go, I mean, just how huge is that for your group?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, he's such a consistent player out there, and he has such a calming presence when he's on the ice. I mean, he can slow the play down, he can speed it up, he can score off the rush and score in front of the net. He's just a well-rounded hockey player. His hockey sense is off the charts. I mean, the guy just knows where to be and knows where to put the puck. And he's a special player to watch. And he's the type of guy that can go silent but have 2 goals. So he's a big player for us to have back, and he's a great guy to have around the locker room and obviously traveling with us. And um, good to see him getting some time to be able to get back to 100% and have a lot of practice under his belt, because I know being injured, that definitely helps having more practices. So yeah, he's looking really, really great right now, and it's really good to have him back.
Next question is from Seth Rohrabaugh. Go ahead, Seth.
Hi, Brian. You guys have this exhibition game coming up against Philadelphia. How intense or how reserved do you think the game will be? I mean, it's obviously an exhibition game, but both teams obviously probably need it to kind of get back up to speed. How intense do you think this game might be?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very intense. It's our only preseason game before we get into playoffs. Obviously, we're playing a couple exhibition games or scrimmages within our team, but it's not the same. Obviously, when you can hit another opponent versus your own teammates, it's a lot different. But yeah, I expect it to be pretty physical and a lot of fun. I think both teams are obviously going to be trying to win and trying to get ready for playoffs. Obviously, they're a team that we could face. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a spirited game for sure.
Next question's from Wes. Go ahead, Wes.
Hey, Brian. Earlier on in camp, Chris Letang said that if he had to rank this D-core compared to others that he's played with through his tenure here in Pittsburgh, he'd probably put it top 1 or 2. Obviously, you haven't been around as long as him, but how would you compare this group to some of the past groups, especially when you won those 2 cups?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say right now, just with the D-core we have, it's very balanced. I think each deep pair has guys that complement each other, both offensively, defensively, puck movers. We can all skate, and I think we've had a good group here for a little bit of time. So starting to understand each other more and get familiar with each other more. And yeah, it's a very mobile group, and I think this group has been, like you said, one of the best groups that we've had. But it's a good balance of older guys and younger guys, and I think we all are very cohesive too, and we all get along, and it's a lot of fun working with these guys every day.
Seth, go ahead.
Brian, the series against Montreal is going to be a best-of-5 series. I believe you played in a couple best-of-5s when you were in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Are best-of-5 series any different compared to a best-of-7 series, or is it just playoff hockey? You just got to give it your all.
Yeah, regardless of how many you're playing, obviously that first game's important. If you can get off to a good start, win that first game, that puts a lot more pressure on teams, regardless if it's a 7-game series or a 5-game series. Obviously, being a 5-game series, that first game's a lot more important. Obviously, this scenario is a lot different than any other time with us being at a neutral location, no fans, obviously, with home crowds and home arenas playing part of the best-of-7 series, obviously getting more games in one arena. But here it's just kind of going out and playing, and that's something I look forward to. It's kind of takes you back to your youth and when you're just playing in random arenas and trying to win a championship in a weekend tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's something that we have to embrace. And I think we have to create a lot of energy around our team, and I think that's something that we will do.
Last one, Dan Potash. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Dimo, I have a off-ice question, if you will. I know that you and I had a chance to do a Zoom interview weeks ago during the quarantine, and one of the things that we talked about is how much you embrace the opportunity to be a dad, a full-time dad, if you will, with all the time at home. You've probably gotten very used to that. How will you now move forward, knowing that you're going to be in a hub city and you won't have that constant one-on-one contact with you, if you will, with your family, let alone your baby, and adjust to that?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely sad, especially for me with being injured. I was able to be around Braden a lot and help out my wife as much as I could around the house. Come to think of it, I haven't really been away from him. I think I went on the LA trip, which was 5 days, and that's the longest I think in his life I've been away from him. So obviously, the more you're around him and the more you're helping out and getting used to his routine, the more attached and my love for him grows. And it's something that's obviously really sad, but it's really cool with the technology these days of being able to FaceTime and still being able to see him and still feel like I'm in his presence, even though I'm far away. And this is something that obviously we can control. I wish they could come with us and support us and watch us, but I know they're going to be watching for home. And he's already saying "Dada" now, and you can tell that he feels my presence and my wife's presence. So it'll definitely be cool when I'm able to see him again, and it's going to be emotional. But I'm obviously looking forward to playing with our team and trying to win a Stanley Cup and hopefully celebrating him with him with that.